Everybody have the second day notes in front of them now? Alright, so we're going to spend another day on applying the linear pair postulate and the vertical angle theorem. Again, your test is Thursday. You guys have your review. Hopefully I can grab it for you before the end of the hour. Otherwise, I will post it to the Google Classroom. If you guys want to get started, I'll get an answer key together too for you guys to post the answers to the Google Classroom as well. Not for you to cheat, but for you guys to learn from. Okay? So the linear pair postulate says that if two angles form a linear pair, then they are supplementary, which means they add to 180. Remember, a linear pair are two angles next to each other that add to 180. So two angles that form a line. So angle 1 and angle 2 form a linear pair, meaning that they form a straight angle. You can see the line that is formed there, right, by those two angles. So angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary, which means they add to 180 degrees. So angle 1 plus angle 2 is equal to 180 degrees. So whenever you see the word linear pair, you should think blank plus blank equals 180 degrees. So when it says find the measures of angle 1 and measures of angle 2, IKU, in that example over there, so angle 1 and angle 2, what do you have to do with those two angles? Equals 180. They are linear pairs, so you add them together to equal 180. So x is 38. Does it ask you to find x, though? No, Hunter, what does it ask us to find? Good. So the measure of angle 1 equals x plus 10, which is 38 plus 10. So the measure of angle 1 is 48 degrees. And the measure of angle 2 is 3x plus 18. So that's 3 times 38 plus 18. So that's 132. Does that make sense? Yes. How did I just decide that it made sense? What do you think I just did to decide if 48 and 132 made sense? Helena? I added them together to see if they equaled 180. So it's always a good idea to check to make sure what you just did makes sense. So all I did is I said in my head real quick, oh, do those add together to equal 180? And they did. So this is 132 for those of you that cannot see that down there. All right, when you're ready, go ahead and flip to the next page. All right, vertical angles congruence theorem. So it just says that vertical angles are congruent, meaning vertical angles are equal to each other. So angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent. They have a single dash line. Do you see how these two have double dashes? That means those two are the same. So the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 3. And the measure of angle 2 is equal to the measure of angle 4. So if they are opposite each other, they are equal. Yes. Yes, I can, sorry. Do you need me to go back? Are you sure? I'm going to slow down a little bit here. Casey, just let me know when you're ready, okay? All right. Hey, I want you guys to feel comfortable enough with me to say I need to slow down sometimes. It's okay. Don't mind having to slow down. Yeah. Do you need somebody?
No, I'm just gonna come say hi.
Hi.
Hey.
So vertical angles are congruent means that like if you have two vertical angles, you'll set them equal to each other. So one of the angle and the other angle. So whenever you see the word vertical, that means you're going to set them equal to each other. So the previous one, we were going to add them together to equal 180, right? Because they're a linear pair. In this case, you set them equal to each other because they're congruent. Congruent means the same. The same means equal in math. So it doesn't tell us that these are vertical angles. So why are angle 6 and angle 7 vertical angles? What makes those vertical angles? We kind of talked about this Friday. What makes a vertical angle? What do you know about a vertical angle? Who remembers what makes something a vertical angle? Because we didn't talk about it today. We talked about it Friday. Yeah, Carmichael? Yeah, they're across from each other in the x, essentially. So 6 and 7 are across from each other in the x, which makes those vertical angles. Since they are vertical angles, they are the same. And since they are the same, we know that they are equal. So angle 6, which is 7x minus 24, is the same as angle 7, which is 5x plus 14. So the measure of angle 6 equals 7x minus 24, so we just plug in 19 there. And the measure of angle 7 is 5x plus 14. That's not going to fit there. So they should be the same. Are those two the same? So does that make sense? That those are vertical angles if they're the same. Look at that one, and then we are going to look at the last slide. Then I'll get your homework out to you. Again, I will get the review posted on the Google Classroom for you guys. some point today. Okay. Let's look at the last example here, and then we'll be done. So find all the angle measures. So there's multiple ways that you can do this. There are multiple ways you can do this. It doesn't just have to be with vertical angles. What else is going on here besides vertical angles? What else do you see in this image besides vertical angles? Supplementary or linear pairs, right? So you could do it this way where you say, well, these two form a straight line, so 6x plus 2 plus 13x plus 45 equals 180 degrees because those form a straight angle. Or you could use what we just learned with vertical angles, and you could say, well, I know that these angles are across from each other so that they are equal to each other. Either way, you will be able to find x. It doesn't matter what you do. All right? Does everybody understand that? So let's do this. Let's try it out. So I want this row here to solve this equation, the purple one, okay? This row, purple. This row, the rest of the room, you're going to do the pink. And let's see what we get for x. So you guys are doing purple. You guys are doing the pink equation here. Go ahead and solve them and see what you get for x, because you should get the same thing. So what did you guys get that had to do the pink equation? What did you guys get? X is 7. Okay. What did you guys get that had to do the purple equation? X was 7. Okay, good. So notice, did it matter what you did? And those aren't the only two equations you could have written. Technically, there's a linear pair here, a linear pair here, a linear pair here, and a linear pair here. So that's 4 different equations you could have written for that one. And then there's 2 sets of vertical angles. That's another 2. So there's 6 different equations you could have written here to get the answer. Does that make sense? So just because your friend did one thing, does that mean it's correct? No, and then you have to plug in x. So you do 13. Thank you. 13 times 7 plus 45. So if this one's 76 degrees, then that means that this one is 76 degrees, right? Because they're the same, right? And technically, all I have to do to find this angle is do 180 minus 76, and I would get 104 degrees. If I do 12 times 7, that's 60. No, that's not 63. That is 84. I did something wrong. What did I do wrong here? What's 13 times 7? I obviously didn't multiply correctly. What's 13 times 7? So that's 21. That should have been 91. That makes more sense. Sorry, guys. So that should be 91. 91 plus 45 is 136, right? So we can do 180 minus 136. So is that 44 degrees then? Yes. Okay. So that one's 44 degrees and this one's 44 degrees. Okay. I have 2 things to hand out to you. A homework assignment that's due tomorrow